here, we're gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high. Alrighty, looks like the drying process took a little longer than expected. As I said, I do have a very hectic schedule, and my lifestyle is pretty demanding between my hobbies, my job, and everything else going in between. But that's all right. Now that the ooh, am I putting this on right? Now that the inner liner fenders, or fender, yeah, inner fender liners. I'm sorry, I'm so messed up. It's kind of late in the day. It is actually Tuesday, December 5th. Is it the 5th? Yeah, I think it's the 5th. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to prep the inner fender liners for painting. But before we do that, we need to really disinfect them. Even though they were washed and cleaned, there's still a little residue left behind. So we're gonna go ahead and clean off all that excess residue before we paint. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use some of this blue shop towel, and I'm gonna soak it in some rubbing alcohol. Don't know if this is the best choice. I got the 91% isopropyl alcohol. Got it at Walmart. It was really cheap. So I'm not gonna be shy about being liberal with this. And it is a new bottle, so let's take off that safety seal. Where are you? There you go. Let's grab one of these tabs. And I'll put that down. I'll pick that up in a moment. It is a good day to start cleaning up because tomorrow morning is garbage day. So we're gonna go ahead and have a good time with that. So I'm gonna fold it into fourths just so I have a thick pad to work with. So of course I rearranged my area. You can see how not the same it is. But I got the inner fender liners outside already. And I was trying to calculate the backing plates. I want to make sure that the left and the right are in the correct orientation. But we're going to go ahead and clean those up as well and then get painting. Oh, and talking about painting, we're going to go ahead and repaint my liners black, and the white backings, we're going to repaint them tan, or as close as we can to Gobi, which is that one camouflage tan color I got from Walmart. But I went ahead and I changed my mind. I'm going to go about this in a different direction. The new steel fenders are black. The body color of Defiant, Mopar's color, they call it Gobi. I still call it desert sand. So I figured instead of repainting the inner fender liner black, we're going to go with the tan color, the same tan color I used to paint my metal cloak diff covers. And since it is flat, it'll still go well. I don't want any glossy or satin or matte. Flat black works for me just fine, or flat tan works for me just fine. So I'm going to go in that direction. So instead of repainting these black, we're going to go with the tan, and those white backing plates for the stencil, we're going to paint those black. And that's the direction we're going. I think it's going to give Defiant a whole new look, and definitely looks pretty neat. I hope it. I'm not looking to be the attention getter, but if it turns a couple of heads, yeah, I'll probably be flattered a little bit. But let me go and get started. I'm saturating my paper towel with this alcohol, and let's go ahead and get started. Let's start wiping this down. Alrighty. It looks like that first part's about over, which is good. All the pieces of the inner fender liners, minus the white backing plates, have been disinfected with rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna let that settle, and we know that rubbing alcohol doesn't take a long time to dry. So while that is happening, I am gonna go ahead and start to agitate my little rattle can so I can start painting them. Where's my can? Where's my can? There it is. Alrighty. Let me start shaking. Alrighty, with the front four pieces already sprayed, I'm gonna let those dry. Depending on the end result, I may give it a second coat, but right now they are actually looking pretty good. Allow me a moment. I am going to make some space so I can spray the rears, and I can start to store them here in my garage so they can dry. So just, yeah, let me get all set up and I'll be right with you. Alrighty, we are all set for the rear inner fender liners. Now, feeling this rattle can right here, I know I've been pretty liberal with the fronts. I should have enough to cover the backs, but I may have to go to the store to get another can, and I'm really digging this color. The way they came out, and they're already drying. This is like not one of them deals that takes forever to dry, somewhere within an hour or less, of course. Let me go ahead and give it a shot. So if I run out of this, I'm just gonna run to the store and get another can, and I'll just give everything a second top coat. But right now it's looking good. Let's go ahead and finish spraying the liners. Alrighty, and there they are. The rears are now painted tan and I had just enough. This can is officially empty. I had just enough paint to go ahead and get those covered and throw a little extra, as you've seen, just to make sure I got all the spots. And I'm trying to get like no black showing from the undercoat here. So this is ready for garbage. If it does need a second coat, I'll just wind up going to the store and get another can. Let's go ahead and clean the white plates and spray those black. All right, and there it is. Everything is painted at this time, which is going to go ahead and let everything dry. I'm going to make a little bit more space in my garage so I can store this. As you can tell by the light outside right behind me, it is actually getting pretty late, especially this going back to standard daylight time. It's getting pretty dark, like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's already black around here. So I'm not going to be very useful without any light. So I'm going to go ahead and store this. I'll take a look at them again tomorrow. If they need a little bit more coat, we'll go ahead and give it another coat, since I'm going to stop by the store and get another can. And then from there, I believe we're ready for the install. It's just we're going to make sure we got all the appropriate hardware. We put all the rev nuts in the right locations. And when assembly is finished, we'll take one good look at it again to see how it came out. And I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. I hope you guys like it. But I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. But for right now, let's go ahead and call it quits for tonight. And we'll take a look at this again tomorrow. Good morning. Today is December 10th. It's a Sunday. It's officially been a week since I started this project. It's a little embarrassing, but as I mentioned before, my schedule is like super demanding, um, and it took me that while to get this far amongst everything else I've done. And during this in between lapse time here, I took advantage and applied a second coat to the inner fender liners just to make sure that the paint is up and sturdy. Everything looked pretty solid. I didn't see any of the black from the undercoat. Because remember, all I did was wash, clean, and disinfect. I didn't sand, so whatever sunburnt paint under there, I didn't want it to show. So I made sure I applied enough coat, and 2 coats seemed to be pretty good. And the paint I'm using, that one camouflage I can from Walmart. It's a primer and a paint, so I feel pretty confident in it. Worst case scenario, I'll just take them all off, sand them all down, and then put them back on. But as far as like all its fixtures and whatnot, that's all getting done today. So this is our project. We're gonna go ahead and finish Defiant with its inner fender liners and the new flat fenders, the steel ones. We are going to refasten the liners back where they're supposed to go. Now, the instructions from Oedro pretty much say that we're going to use rev nuts. As a matter of fact, let me show you. They gave us a whole pack of rev nuts, and I went ahead and I opened up that pack, and regardless what the instructions said, I went ahead and I counted them. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of rev nuts to do the entire job in one sitting without having to stop and go to the hardware store. So if I was shy of any parts, whether it be rev nuts, bolts, whatever, I'd go to the store and get everything done so that I wouldn't interrupt this phase of the install. I went ahead and I picked myself up a rev nut tool. This is actually the second one I bought. The first one is a 10-inch, and I've had it for a while. I lent it out to a friend, but unfortunately, the 10-inch doesn't offer the larger sizes like the 10mm, the half-inch 13, stuff like that. This one does. So this one goes all the way down to M6 up to the half-inch. It's half-inch 13. So this is an adequate size versus the other one was a 10-inch. This one is a 16-inch. So now we got more leverage on there because these guys, they're pretty tough to crush if you're inexperienced. My first time trying with a half-inch, oh my god, it was like the most horrible thing. Just trying to almost hurt yourself trying to collapse this to crush the rev nut. Anyway, so everything seems to be intact. We got all of the hardware. Yeah, we got a gang of these M6 bolts that we're going to use. They even provided the manual tool, which is pretty much a nut, some washers. I'm sorry, a bolt, some washers, and a couple nuts to do it manually. But since I went ahead and I bought the rev nut tool, I'm not going to worry about that other method that they suggested. And bag of washers, by the way, so I'm covered here. Bolts, washers, rev nuts, all that jazz. And I got a few spares laying around somewhere in case I need, but I don't want to use my own surplus if they're providing all the fasteners I need. Let me put that down for a second. So we're going to go in that direction here. We're going to start off on the passenger side. We are going to, on the front, we are going to first take the two pieces. We're going to bolt them back together to make one unit out of it. Then we're going to fit it to bolt that back in place. Now, there are a couple things. I'm kind of skeptical of how Oedro wants me to go ahead and put in rev nuts. I don't want to put a rev nut where I shouldn't have to because of the use of the inner liners. And if I have a different, let's say a different facility, for example, in the rear, there's about 10 holes where rev nuts should go. I've decided I'm only going to use 8 of them because the top two are for the rear inner liners that have welded nuts in the back, and I still have the bolts for the top of that. So that's the method, or not method, but the direction we're going to go in as far as the rears go when we're installing the fenders. Let me see. I haven't really gauged or measured the front, so we're going to do that today. We're going to put the 4 that we know are good fastener locations. There's a 5th one, and the 5th one in the front uses this Z bracket with these bolts and washers, and it has welded on nuts on the back. And I'm kind of skeptical of the location of that, so I want to gauge it first to see if I'm going to make use of this and not have to use a rev nut. If it is that direction, that's the way I want to go, for easier access of this if I ever have to remove it. And of course, it is part of the support for the inner fender liner as far as the rear of its location. So we're gonna think about that as we go along, to keep it going. But first, let me go ahead and take to the front pieces. I am gonna bolt them back together with 2 M6 bolts, and then we're gonna fit it. So let's go ahead and, let me get a bit there. Let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so here we are. We've got 2 of the front pieces. In fact, this is driver's side. We're gonna go do the passenger side first. And before I start, I did not show you the finish of these things, but look how beautiful they came out. I mean, I did leave them black on the back because, like I said, you're not even gonna see it. But they came out this beautiful shade of tan. So what I'm gonna do is let me go ahead and get them set up here. Let's go ahead and that should be the weld area. That look right? Yes, it's gonna go like that. Let's go ahead and get these started. Now they may be a little tight the first go around. Remember, we just painted them, so a little bit of overspray on the threads is expected. Let me grab my screwdriver. I fully charged it this morning, so we should be good on that. Right a bit there. Put my screwdriver to the side. This actually looks very nice. All right. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's beautiful. I hope you like it as much as I do. Alrighty, so now let's make our way to the fender wheel. Let's get this bad boy installed. Let me grab my, what do I do with it? It's in my pocket. Alrighty, so here we are, the passenger front fender well. And you know what? It still looks a little dirty over here. I still got my bucket of soap and water. Let me go ahead and just wash off the dust real quick. As long as we're gonna remount over here, let's just make sure the surface is clean. I'm not trying to be like, the Mr. Clean Hygienist of all these things, but as long as it's here, let's keep it nice, because you don't want like this dust and whatever rubbing against your surface paint. Because at the end of the day, remember, even though dust is small, like small particles, it's still some kind of stone or rock, just very, very small. Let's just wipe that down real quick. Let me grab my bucket. All right, it's a good thing I left it here. Now, considering that it is December, it is winter time, this water's gonna be like stupid cold. Yes, it is. And all I want to do is just wipe off the dust, Oh yeah. Get some dry mud on there too. Good opportunity to clean all this off. Cool. Where's my generation said? Groovy. Okay. Now, most of you know how I am about safety. Always wear your gloves, always wear your goggles. But I'm not doing anything today that is gonna put me in any kind of danger. And so I do wear glasses, so that'll protect my eyes some. But I'm not gonna have parts moving around. I'm just gonna take this assembly fitter right here. So I'm going to use this one here in the front. I've got a mounting point right here, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then the Z bracket is gonna come right here. Can't remember which of the two of these is. So I'm gonna put it up first and then line up the Z bracket. I have a feeling and or confident that it's gonna be the smaller of these two holes. So we're gonna go ahead and just knock that out and get her done. And if I have some of these wires exposed, I will get them tucked and out of the way so that we don't have to deal with them. That's gonna be a little tough, but we'll figure it out, even if we got a zip tie or something, just so they're not exposed and nothing hangs or yanks on them. But let me go ahead and get the assembly. I left it right here. I didn't want to make a big old mess. Alrighty, so let's grab that. Let's take this fella. Okay, so that is gonna fit. There we go, a little bit more angle. I know I've done this a million times. I don't know why I'm so nervous about it. There you go, it's gonna fit just like that. Yeah. And then I'll look at the Z bracket in a second, but this is a perfect spot. It actually looks pretty neat. Not exactly the same paint match, you know, but I didn't go to the dealer neither. So let's start grabbing some of these here fasteners. Start lining them up in their holes. Of course, I'm going to do this by hand. You know what? I messed up. I forgot the important thing. The back liner. Let's go ahead and take this back up. We need to rivet that back in place. Alrighty, now that I feel like super silly about the whole situation, but you know what? There is a silver lining, and that is that I caught it before we actually installed or bolted down the very first liner. Can you imagine going through all that work and then realizing, hey, you forgot to rivet on that one backing plate you made such a big deal about? And I wanted it to complete my look. So let me go get started. Let me grab my stool. I got me a pack of rivets that I had over here. I had to dig for a second, and my rivet gun is ready. So let's go ahead and start popping in those rivets. Alrighty, so I'm going to use the same little step that's got my little perforated lines in it, only for these reasons of the rivets protruding through the back. And of course, that one same inner fender liner, I went ahead and I took it apart just so I can handle it a whole lot easier without having that extra sheet metal in my way. Okay, so here we go. We got this fella. Gonna put him down. Let me get one of the black backing plates here. And I can't remember which is left and right. This fella, let me say, would I go this way maybe? Nope, this has got to be the other side. Let's put this one to a side right here, just to confuse them. And at this point, I'm praying that I painted them in the correct orientation so I don't mess this up even more. Alrighty, so now we got this fella right here. I think that looks good. Right on. Okay, so now let's do this again. We're gonna go and lift this. I got 3 right there. Perfect. I got make sure my holes are lined up. That's actually gonna look pretty cool. Let me get some of these rivets here. And which one's gonna fit that hole? Oh, good Lord. Let me see, we got 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. Well, I'm pretty sure these holes are bigger than 1/8. So let's test something here. Got my rivet gun. Just go ahead and take that out. I'm gonna expand the handle out as far as it'll go. I already changed the nozzle here to accept this shank. And if we give this a squeeze, you can see that this fella is already expanding. Let's give that another squeeze there. Let me hold it steady for you. Where's the little camera on here thing? So now you can see at the end of the stud is a ball. And that ball is being pulled by the stem that's inside the rivet gun. And that actually looks to be a good size right there, even though it did bend a little bit. Let's give it a snap. It breaks off cool. It actually looks, this is so funny, it actually looks like a bent tailpipe, like at the end. It's so funny. Now, there it is, it comes out the back, the broken end of the stem. So, you won't lose anything. You collect all your garbage, put it in the right spot. Now, the whole intent of this right here was to give that a squeeze and measure the end result over here to see if it's thick enough to hold everything in place. And I'm gonna go with no, because even though this does expand out, it still goes through the hole. So, good Lord, this one is a fail right now. I have to go to the store and get bigger rivets. So just give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna give me some rivets, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this party started. Alrighty, after a little running around, I got the right rivets. To just make sure I got the right ones, and I did it right. I already did the two rears just to pop rivet them on, just to see how they came out. And let me show you the end result. Here we go. The backing plate is riveted on, and the front of it is now light blocked, meaning you can't see light through it, but you do see the black stencil, so it's on there correctly. This guy ain't going nowhere unless it gets drilled out. And since I already did the rear two, these are ready to go. Let's go ahead and do the two front, and then we're gonna go back to Defiant to mount it. Man, it feels super silly. I've never been so unprepared. But all right, yeah, let's get this done. I need these fenders on today. My goodness, it's already been a week, and that's a day too long for me. All right, let's go ahead and pop these on. Okay, so what I have done is I've taken my stool, I put the inner liner here, the backing plate under it, and I've got 4 rivets just holding the holes in place, just so I get them in the right spot. So now is the time that I'm gonna take them one by one, and I'm gonna pop rivet secure these things. Now, I'm gonna do my best to apply as much pressure as I can to keep all the pieces super tight, so when they rivet together, there is no jiggle or vibration or anything like that. So, and as you are, let me see if I can put my hand in there. Just look in there. As you're applying tension to squeeze the caliper itself, or the pliers, the rivet gun, you want to go ahead and push down just to make sure that all the tension stays. I need that piece to come out. Just my luck, yeah? There it is. Okay, that's one down, a few more to go. Let's get them all done. And there you have it. 7 rivets popped on the inner fender liner, backing plate secure, and you see the beautiful black stencil protruding through the tan inner liner. Just go ahead and get the other one done, and then we'll keep on moving forward. Alrighty, so it looks like those pop rivets ain't working out. There's got to be something different in the shank. Allow me a moment. I'm going to drill those back out, and then we're going to do this once more. Hang in there. Alrighty, we went ahead and got the rivets in there, and I don't know why it's giving me such a hard time. I used a 1/8 drill bit to go ahead and drill them out, so a 1/8 drill, rivet should be able to fit in the hole, or for some reason it's dangling. If this seems to give me any issue in the future, I may have to drill it out to the next size, which would probably be a 3/16. So if I have to go that route, then I will. I'll just punch them out to a 3/16 hole and get some 3/16 rivets. But right now it seems to be on there pretty good. It doesn't seem to be giving any issues. Doesn't feel like it's dangling or anything. Still looks sweet. So let's go ahead and mate them together with the back half of it. And let's go ahead and install the passenger side. Let me put this down. Okay, so what I'm doing is I've got two M6 bolts that I'm using to fasten these two halves together. It is an Allen head. It is a 4mm Allen head, which is already on my electric screwdriver. So let's just go ahead and tighten them up. Oh, look at me. I'm not even prepared. I am having that moment. Probably a senior old man kind of thing. Alrighty. Why are you skipping in there? Okay. Let's go ahead and take this to the Jeep. Alrighty, so back at Defiant, we're ready to go ahead and install this liner. Now that the stencil backing plate has been riveted on, let's make our attempt one more time to install it. We're gonna secure it somewhere here. I want to made up my mounting holes. You know, I must have a lot going on in my mind right now because I've never had such a hard time, you know, fumbling my fingers and dropping stuff and not being prepared for a segment. This is really, really odd. I feel weird. The biggest question is going to be that Z bracket. Let's go ahead and grab that real quick just so I can mock it up nice for the install and tightening it down. But this is what she's going to look more or less like. I think it looks pretty neat. Yeah, I think it looks freaking awesome. What a new look. I love it. All right, let me get that bracket real quick. Alrighty. So, Z bracket. And this is the hole. Actually, because if we're going to do this right, get that guy out of there too. Because if we're going to do this right and we're going to mock it up, we're going to do it the way it's going to be done. Okay, so this fella, I'm going to go in there. Keep in mind, once this one's tightened down and in position, this bolt should never have to be removed again unless we're going to repaint the liners or 100% get rid of them. Okay, the way it looks so far, we're gonna tighten it down to the 13 millimeter here. And as I was skeptical, but now it is proven that it is going to use the smaller hole. So that means that the plan in the instructions for the rev nut hole is going to change. I am not going to put a rev nut there. I'm just going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do the 8 instead of the 9th one. We're going to apply this bolt. Where we're going to take the fender, we're going to sandwich it in between here. And then keep on moving forward. So let me do that. I mean, this looks like it's ready to tighten down. Let me get my my screwdriver. I'm just going to tighten these guys down. I get a 13 millimeter where I'm going to tighten on this one, and then I'm going to tighten on that one. And then when we're going to install the rev nuts, I'm going to take this one back out, but I need to do it the way, you know, this whole mock-up right here to tighten this one so that the Z bracket doesn't move. So let me get my screwdriver. Let's tighten them up. Like to remember that this one here, the front is a little tight, so I may need to get a ratchet for that, more than likely. Yeah, that one's always been a bit tight. I'm gonna have to get a ratchet on that one. No big deal. Let me get a ratchet. Oops, go ahead and okay. I need this fella here. I'm gonna put this on the socket so I have a better wrenching persuasion on this front one here. I'm sure I'll eventually change that clip, but right now, let me see how well my screwdriver did on these. Oh yeah, they're on there good. Let's skip it on there. It's probably had its toll. Let me get a ratchet and wrench for this side right here. And this is technically done for the moment. And it's in. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's as secure as it gets because there is no mounting fixture for the bottom. And that's sandwiched in tight. You know, just for laughs and giggles because I did do it with the screwdriver. I need another 4 millimeter. Yeah, good anyway. Alrighty. So that's it on that side right there. Let me go ahead and install the driver side so we can at least get this this part of the front done, and then let's go ahead and start looking at how we're going to rev nut for the fenders. Alrighty, now that we got both front inner liners or inner fender liners installed, let's go ahead and move to the back. I am going to go ahead and do the passenger rear. Now, just like the front, I'm going to do a little cleaning first because it is dusty back here. Those liners, like I mentioned before, have been on here for 5 years. They have not been removed. So let's just go ahead and wipe off some of this dust and keep it clean while we're in here working. you know, take advantage of the situation and wipe it down, you know. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and grab our rear inner fender liner, and we're gonna fit it just like we did the front. Now, according to the instructions of the inner fender, those little flat fenders, you need to put rev nuts, and it looks like 10 different locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's pretty much all of the exposed holes that are the same size, not this larger one here. And these two are the mounting locations for the top of the inner fender liner. So I believe these two, we are not going to put rev nuts in it. We're just going to do the 4 on the left and the 4 on the right. So we're going to save 2 there, just like we saved 1 up front. And again, this is a mock-up. We're just going to install them to mock it up before we fit the fenders. To be 100% sure where we're going to go ahead and mount all those rev nuts. So let me grab the fender. Oh, sorry, the inner fender liner. Let me just put it in here. I don't want to get it dirty. I just painted it, but I guess it is what it is. I remember this one just fell out the other day. It's like, I'm better gonna have serious issues trying to get it back in. Let's try that. Try not to be all brutal about this. Oh, good Lord. There we go. He's on the inside. That's all I need. All I need you to do is be on the inside, my man. That's it. Okay, so now we lined up that hole, we lined up that hole, and we got those 2 big ones. Perfect. Well, that's as put as it's gonna stay. So let's go ahead and grab 2 of our larger bolts with the washers and see if we can secure the top ones first, and then we will move to the lower ones. Just give me a second. Let me go find my 10mm wrench so I can hold the nut, and then we'll be all set on this side. Alrighty, so just to double check my fitment here, here's the one for the other side, and that is a 10mm. Righto. Alrighty. So, yeah, that's right. See if I can get this back there. Right on. That's good. This fella back there. That feels about right. Let's go ahead and put this in there. I got it. Alrighty, so now we got the passenger side rear inner fender liner installed. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the driver's side, and I'll be back with you in a moment so we can start prepping for the fender install.